Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
Anyone can sail on smooth waters. Anyone can dance when the music is playing.
So is it just a run in the rain? You tell me.
Remind yourself of what that door opening is going to feel like.
So I have dreams. Compulsions to be legendary, evolving from the imaginary, and it's near and it's real. I can see. In due time, we realize that real life is defined by our own eyes. And I have blueprints to the skyline. It's just reality is built methodically. And overnight success, you would never guess, takes a long time. You have to cut lifelines and navigate landmines. But it's your move on your cue. Just decide. So I sat there, thought about it. How long am I going to go on about it? Put my shoes on, I said so long, and went outside. Right through the field I used to run by, where the rows of sunflowers waist high, but it was different than what I envisioned. There weren't any road signs or guidelines or letters that said it's all just fine. It was just me adjusting as I made my way to the sunrise. Then I paused. On the ground below me was a little door. I knocked slowly, was pretty scared, maybe ill-prepared, but we get one life only. So I opened the hatch, looked down, and it's pitch black, no sound. And if you don't choose any road will do. I've been riding logistical merry-go-rounds and my eyes are wide. Restless soul with scores to settle from years ago. I know that there's more cause I told me so. I'm going down the rabbit hole and there's not a way out. The chips fall, I'm all in. Now my prospects are in lockstep and each step is a shakedown. I got a coat of armor, sword of steel, call to arms cause the threat's real. And see, crowns are made on battlefields, so your majesty, no, I will never kneel. Time to face fear right front center. Watch doubts fall like it's November. Got a treasure map in my backpack, it says life's golden. What a pleasure, been round and round and free falling now. Cause there's ghost schools and there's goblins out there. You're leaving us, they call me treasonous. Think that you're dangerous, you must be delirious. Just then the guns fire and the trumpets start and the ground trembles from the steady march. And it looks bad cause their deck's stacked, but my king beats a queen of hearts. They're trying to win in spades, so I set fires with the kind of flames that forge empires. And like a hurricane, but I'm a tad insane. Cat 5, Cheshire. Right around we go, the next episode under the second story. So look out below, collect haters' tears. It makes a steady flow, and the greatest fear is I told you so. I know it though, there's no impossible. You can watch your past, you can watch it grow. Be more powerful than you will ever know. I'm going down the rabbit hole.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 The champ. Good
afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually the housing market of South Africa, which is for me actually quite fascinating. Actually, we were doing it yesterday after reading an article. I think it was on Friday or something, and then I looked at the figures and the statistics of the housing market in South Africa, and it's actually fairly strange. Actually, after basically all of us, the bankers, the property market experts and all of that were saying, listen here, the property market will get a heavy beating this year. And all of a sudden, when I looked at the data, it looks like there is, not it looks like, but there is a resurgence in house prices, and it is quite sketchy. For example, a lot of people are moving to your coastal areas. Also, there's a lot of new first-time buyers in the market, and the age gap is also changing quite drastically. And also, what I picked up, if you look at in a race perspective, there's a lot of colored and black people that are actually buying houses, and you have a lot of white people who are not buying houses, who are actually moving in more into the rental side of things, which is fairly strange. As I said in the description, it's a crazy housing market that we're actually experiencing in South Africa. And also, if you look at the business perspective of actually, besides the housing boom, but there is a quite strong connection with the housing boom and the start of businesses. As a lot of people move from your inland to coastal, you will see also that the people come with new ideas and also want to start businesses and buy up businesses. For example, you have your bed and breakfast section of the coastal area where people are buying these houses, bed and breakfasts, and even restaurant, and I would say actually the hospitality industry. People are buying that up with them buying their houses. And also the norm that I know of, like 2014, I would say 2012 onwards until last year, you would get people normally going in for your rental spaces, but small rental spaces, and normally it is in your cities. For example, Johannesburg, where people are actually more accustomed to, they will go there because obviously the work opportunities and everything is there. But if you see now, the dynamics have changed as people move to coastal areas and also take businesses with them. And then on the other side, what I looked is also people are buying larger houses and not your small houses. For example, I think it is to do with the new era that we are in, where people need to stay at home. So people are buying larger houses, maybe more of your 4-bedroom houses or 3-bedroom houses, because they need space to work in and also to gym at the same time. Strangely enough, a lot of people are not. There is actually a bit of a demand for your washing machines, your televisions, and those type of things. There is a demand there. Obviously, people move houses, they buy these things, but not a very sharp increase in that. Obviously, your computers, that's definitely a increase in that. And then obviously your gym equipment, because it looked like people prefer to or prefer now to gym at home due to uncertainty regarding the lockdown. But on the housing side, that for me is somewhere a bit strange, because if you look at the conditions that South Africa is under, you have a very high unemployment rate, but people are buying houses. Also, at the same time, you have disposable incomes that is literally cut in half. It is about 50% less of what it previously was. But what makes it actually worse, although the incomes decrease, people's debt levels increase. That for me is a bit reckless. Because obviously, when you know your income is decreasing, why would you take up more debt? But what I also picked up is people taking up debt to start up businesses and at the same time buying houses. But then you have also the uncertainty that goes around starting a business. Because obviously you have lockdown. Look, there's a lot of threats that are still lingering around in South Africa about a second wave. And that is actually a bit irritating. With the KZN minister or premier, I would say, he was threatening if people don't behave, they will lock down the economy. Even here in the Eastern Cape, they're talking about a second wave. And also Johannesburg and parts of South Africa, even the Western Cape, are talking about second wave. And it's just a second wave frenzy that is around. And then people also started to buy businesses, which is now in your hospitality sector. Now I understand that the prices of the hospitality industry did decrease quite drastically. Especially your bed and breakfasts, your restaurants. You will see a lot of auctions that is going on with stoves and machinery that goes with your hospitality industry. Yes, it's a bargain, but is the economy, or can you trust the authorities by not locking down the economy again? We just saw Spain yesterday, and I was reading an article this morning that they went into a fully fledged lockdown with curfews and restaurants that have curfews, and some, not even some parts, but the whole entire Spain is under a heavy lockdown. So as I said, a fully fledged lockdown. Now, can we trust the authorities this side of South Africa not to do that again, even though they bought some hospitality, like your bed and breakfasts in this regard? So I understand with the housing market, you normally have low interest rates. You would think people will make the move, but I didn't expect the banks to go ahead with it because of disposable incomes that are actually decreasing. That for me is a big question mark. The banks taking so much risk, even though that disposable incomes are going down, but you're still giving people loans. There's so much uncertainty regarding South Africa, not just with COVID, but with the government itself, with the banking system itself, government's debt that's actually surging and still going up. And then you have now people's debt that also increases. But I will just take a short break, and then I'll be breaking down this whole crazy demand or housing boom, I would say, that just doesn't add up to me. And I think, not that I think, I know this is extremely dangerous. And this bubble will pop at any single time. Now, I will just take a short break and then I'll be back with you.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Yeah. Period.
I came from the bottom, but I'm climbing to the top. Like some testing your will, how much faith do you got? Your foot's on the line, will you ever take a shot and score the game? Winning points when it's zeros to clock. I've came to find that life's a test, there's no cheating either. Just work and stress, if no money's provided, you're eating less. Bills on the table and pain in your chest. You promise you'll pay for the things that you can't. You want the whole world, but it's burning in your hands. You ask for help, no one hears you in the stands. A crowd full of friends you can never call fam. They love you then, but they don't love you now. Your whole life seems to be crashing down. You never feel safe when there's no one around. So if you feel like giving up, you gotta stand your ground. No one else can ever try to tell you otherwise. So stop trying to be just like them other guys. Fake the haters who live in to see you feeling life, and fuck the coaches who judge it cause of the shape of size. If you ever want to make it, you gotta show effort and show dedication and crave it like basically nothing else matters but getting that paper and that education. Just take it from me, I ain't doing this shit to rap with a mouth full of gold teeth, that'll show the whole world that my chain ain't Zoe. Just let the world know I'm an OG. No, I do this for my fam, for my city, and for me. Cause honestly, I throw a middle finger up to those who don't. So if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. But if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. People will always try to bring you down, but that's a part of life. Imaginary action when they see your name up in the lights. Ignore the gossip and nonsense you're hearing on the daily. Cause if it gets to your head, then you'll only end up failing. Just be the best that you can. Only those who love you will be there in the end. Stick with those in your defense and leave alone your phony friends. Stay on track, don't fall behind. Either chase your goals or fall in line. Bullshitting's only a waste of your time, so go with your gut and stay on your grind. I wanna wake up the world. Someone's gotta hear my message. This is food for your thought. Take it as easy ingestion. I won't leave you in question, just a lasting impression. I'm trying to speak the truth, so take heed to my lessons. This is honestly the most honest things I've said in a while. In life you'll always be judged, eternal circles of trials. Just keep your head up and never ever fall to denial. You're finally on the clock, meaning your time is now. If you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. But if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon, welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Opson, and we're doing the crazy housing boom in South Africa that's currently persisting. Well, there's various of factors that comes in here, but one thing that I know is definitely to do with the low interest rates in South Africa. Now, currently the prime rate is at its lowest level for, I think, for the last 50 years. I never saw it so low in my life. So obviously, the record low interest rates literally drive people to buy big ticket items. But also, when it comes to the car sales, I must say there is a different story. Excuse me. There's a different story there. I see there's a sharp increase in second-hand cars, but not in your brand new cars. I don't pick up that. There is, but it's a norm. Maybe because 70% of South African cars are getting imported or something. But I see there is actually a demand for second-hand cars in South Africa. But the housing market, and normally when it comes to first-time buyers, that is actually new, because first-time buyers were not normally out of the market. They were normally renting. And now you're seeing those people are going into the market now and buy actually houses. Now, obviously, it looks like the first-time buyers are people that did rent houses that are thinking now, look, they are tired of renting houses. They're tired of sitting with landlords that phone them every time, or landlords that are just a pain in the butt. So they rather prefer of buying these houses. But one thing that was striking in this whole entire research, it is that people are buying houses basically for 2 to 3 million. They're going in for for houses, not your Mickey Mouse houses. They're going in for big houses like 2-3 million. As I said earlier, it's normally your big houses, your 3 bedrooms and 4 bedroom houses that they want to buy. Now, most of the time, your coastal areas do actually give those houses, and I think the market is actually buying them up. Now, also strangely enough, there is no new stock that is coming on stream, like construction people that are building new houses. And I don't see a heavy spike in building material. But I did see a spike in building material like June, July. It did happen there. But after that, it's starting to go down. I think it's the construction people that are basically, or did basically finish up building their houses, and then they are not building anymore. So there is, if you look also at building permits, that also did not increase. It's actually going down. So there's not much building permits that's been giving out to construction people to build new houses. So it's basically the old stock that is actually being sold. But also what I do notice is a lot of old people who are getting out of the market, maybe going to go into downsizing or something. And it's more the young people, ages between 31 and 34, that are actually buying these houses up. Also, there is actually a spike in people in the ages of 40, between 40 and 45. Now, that is in line with my demographic table that I normally put out, that your 40 to 45s is normally your midlife crisis story that goes in there. And then, but that part there also push people to buy houses. They want to start a new life or something. It's just a crazy period that normally comes there that is very undescribable. They just want to start something between the ages of 40 and 45. So a lot of them are actually moving to the coastal areas. That is what I also picked up if you look at the ages there. But your 31 and 34 are normally in your cities, and they want to establish their life there in the cities and are tired of paying rent. So I think your 40-year-olds, they did own a house and think, listen here, I'm going to go to the coastal areas, going to enjoy my life and start a business there and start fresh. On the other side also, there is a 20% increase also in divorce rates. Now, it falls in the ages between 39 and 44. There's a lot of females also that do actually go and apply for divorces. That is also one thing that I picked up there. That they, listen here, I'm done. I'm gonna pack up. I'm leaving. But obviously that was expected because of the lockdown, as we saw data from China, Saudi Arabia, and also from the Euro areas, where divorce rates actually did increase because of the lockdown. And I think there's still more coming, but there was an increase in level 4 and 5 of people who did actually did apply for divorces, and there's still a lot more coming. So the divorce rate is also one factor maybe that did push up the property market, where people just want to start their new life. But a lot of young people, I would say, or youth between the ages of 31 and 34 that are actually buying houses. Then you have the midlife crisis group, which is now your 40, or I would say your 39 to 44 or 45, that moves to your coastal areas and start actually a new life there. But there's big question marks there. I don't know if it's based on emotions or what, but there is a lot of, for me personally, I think it's maybe emotional decision or something. Because there is so much risk that's still going on in South Africa. You have a very corrupt government. You still have the land expropriation story. You still have the lockdown. It's not that we are clear and out of the woods, and we know now governments can decide overnight overnight that they want to lock down economies, but there's still a lot of, for me personally, just to go in and take up debt and buy big ticket items, you have to think clearly of the situation before you can decide. But the data currently shows that a lot of people were approved on 100% a mortgage without any deposits, nothing, which is for me strange, because disposable incomes are actually down and still people are getting 100% mortgages. And the volumes actually increased quite drastically, especially in June and July, even in August. Because obviously when the real estate market opened, and the lockdown regulation went down, a lot of people actually got approvals of mortgages. And as I said, not a lot of new stock has been built. And as I also said, that it went from your first-time buyers now that goes in with aggression, and also you have your former renters that are now home owners. Now, in Port Elizabeth, the housing market is actually increasing quite drastically, and normally you would get a national average of about for the last 2 years, I would say 2019 and 2020, although it's not finished as in yet, you would have a national inflation increase on the housing market of about 1.2% there around. In Port Elizabeth, it goes for about 5%. So which means the housing market is actually improving in Port Elizabeth, I would say, in your coastal areas. But let I put it down just on Port Elizabeth. Also, you get an increase also in Cape Town for about 6%. So you do get an increase for your house in these areas. Now, especially with the lockdown now, especially with the opening of the real estate market, Cape Town, your Western Cape, and I would say actually Cape Town specifically, and the Eastern Cape, PE and East London, the housing market are actually surging there. But there's also some risk that goes with it, with the drought in actually the Eastern Cape that goes with it. And that is actually where the big question come in. It's like, didn't people pick that up? Although the drought is not something new for the Eastern Cape, but it is actually quite scary because the dam levels did decrease quite drastically. Luckily, we got some rain today. But that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if it's just the emotional decision or did the research when it comes to that. Look, also one funny thing that I also picked up is the amount of shacks that is actually going up. The average shack in South Africa, or especially here in Port Elizabeth, there's actually shack builders. People are literally making money out of building shacks. A normal one-bedroom shack goes for about, the guy that builds the stuff goes for about 3.4. If you want a double shack or a two-bedroom shack, you pay about 4,600. And these guys are so reluctant. They say, listen here, you have to pay all the money up front because they are afraid, because normally the shacks get built on illegal land, and normally the authorities come and clean it up, and then they don't pay the guy his full money, because normally in the beginning he would charge 50%. But now he said, listen here, he wants all his money up front. So if the authorities come, he still get his money. But the scary part is that these guys are building shacks in areas where they are not supposed to build shacks. And it's spreading quite drastically, especially in the area in Port Elizabeth and East London, according to the article. Western Cape is also becoming a huge problem. But these factors also devalue the properties, and also it decrease business investment as well because of these shacks that come up. Because we all know with structures and shacks and all those things that come in, then afterwards you get your protesting that goes, and people will fight for electricity, people will fight for water, and they demand this stuff. And then you have the property or the area that get actually tarnished because of this. Excuse me. So I'm just not sure that the people did their homework correctly, but there is a massive demand that goes on, and we are not out of the woods. So, but the boom is going on. But it's also one person that also told me over the weekend that normally bankers will push credit for consumers, especially when it comes to this time of the year, especially the last 3 months of the year, because obviously these guys are working on commissions, and obviously if you pass more loans, it means that you will get a bigger bonus at the end of the year. And I think the bankers are taking large risk of pushing these real estate market through the roof, with all the risks still literally on top of us, and they just don't care but to push this market literally through the roof. But there's still more information that I go through, and then also I will give my forecast for the housing market. But I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You didn't use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat, check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No, Come on, man, pick your head up. Go back inside. Half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief. It starts right now when hell freezes you lay down. Until then, it's your town. It's your story. It's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize where they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound. And this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step and power and progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless. It's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Welcome back to Bull Markets Talk Show, and this is your host Rian Hobson, and we're still doing the crazy boom in the housing market in South Africa. Now, as I said, there's a lot of first-time buyers into the market, and these guys are not looking for your Mickey Mouse houses. They are buying houses for 2.5 million upwards to about 3 million or even more. The total new mortgages runs in with about 25 billion, say about 26 billion. That was now recorded in June 2020. Now, the boom is still continuing. And I'm definitely sure that 25 billion is surely by now about 30 or maybe 40 billion rands. And which for me is, what is funny for me is that the household debt in South Africa, that is now to income. It actually came steadily down for the last, since the recession in 2008. 2008, the household debt was at about, to incomes, was at about 86%. And then it come plummeting down. And for the last few years, it was ranging between 70%, say 75%, and then last year it came down to about 72%. Now, just after June, just when this whole housing market or the real estate market opens, household debt moved from 73.6% to back again to 85%. This is now recession levels that we are in. The non-performing loans in South Africa, it's very close to where it was in 2008. In 2008, we had non-performing loans sitting at about 6%. Now, it is literally sitting close to about 6% again at 5.7%. And the risks, if you look back, 2008, that was all stirred up with the U.S. recession that is happening, and obviously it trigger a recession, a global recession. Now, in South Africa's instance, look, the dynamics changed drastically. There we still had Thabo Mbeki, the World Cup that was there, and we had some sort of solution to weather the storm. Government debt was well anchored at about, I think it was about 25% to GDP. Today, the story is totally different. Debt to GDP, that is now a government story, sit at about 83%, the same as household debt. From 25%, it sits now at 83%. The economy is an absolute mess. If you look at crime, if you look at the racial stories in South Africa, if you look at the amendment of the expropriation bill, look, it is an absolute mess. There was no EFF also in 2000, 2007, 2008. It was everything I would say it was okay. It was not honky-dory at that time, but it was far better. We just came out of economic expansion and then we got the recession. We had a massive expansion from 2002 until 2005, where the economy grew with about nothing less than 4%, and also we hit at some stage at 6% and over. So it was okay under the Thabo Mbeki era. Also, we had the unemployment rate at that time. If you look at 2002, it was at about 30%. It actually came down to levels to 21%. So we had a massive expansion, not just on the economy front, but also under the unemployment, where unemployment went down quite drastically. We had construction that was going on. I'm just actually painting the picture of at least we had an expansion in 2002 to 2007. So normally what I know, in all sorts of history, once you have an expansion, you have a recession, it's very easy to come out of that recession because people know what they need to do. People are hungry. They're going back to things. Today, we're sitting with totally uncertainty today. We are sitting in a lockdown. Only God knows when it's going to stop. That idiot just actually, what's her name? Dlamini Zuma just said that she looked at extension, the level 1 lockdown. I don't know for what reasons, for the second wave or whatever nonsense he can come up with. Then we have a government that is basically broke. We are at the doors of the IMF now. We have literally a land expropriation bill, and we have more tax coming our way because the government is totally bone dry. They doesn't have money, so they will definitely ramp up taxes. And then on top of that, we have the Reserve Bank in their policy statement that was now in September. They did warn us that it is the end of the low interest rate cycle. And we will definitely see interest rates that will increase in 2021. We will see that. Now, what I did notice, a lot of people took out the bonds and have the rates fixed at this low level that we are in now. But will that save you? That is the big question, because according to what I know, the bond yields in South Africa are pointing steeply up. That means we're expecting inflation. Even though you have a low interest rates, that's fine. But will you manage the inflation? Because we have inflation that is sharply going up and salaries that will not match it. So even though you have your interest rates low, will you keep up with the tariffs that goes with that new house? Will you keep up with the food inflation that will go with that house? Did people actually calculate all those factors in? Because this boom that I'm currently seeing, it's a recipe for disaster that is about to erupt. It's going to end in tears. It looks like in the housing market there's a V-shaped recovery, and this is definitely not the V-shaped recovery. Well, it recovers definitely, but I see a sharp decline backwards down. Because we can already see, which for me is funny. I mean, potatoes is going between the range of 90 bucks and 150 rand. We have meat prices that are through the roof. We have water bills that are through the roof, that are literally 200% up. Electricity that will definitely go up. We know now Eskom, we literally pay for nothing when it comes to Eskom. We have tariffs on levies that sharply just increase overnight when it comes to the houses. One person was complaining that she tried to flush her toilet once a day, but still she's paying a high amount of levies for that. So we are definitely out of the woods, and things will deteriorate in the economy with high taxes, high levies. That is now your water, electricity, refusal levies, and all of those things that comes with it. I fully understand if you rent, you don't sit with that mess with levies and all of those things. But most of the people think that, listen here, they are tired of renting and they need to move into buying houses. I understand that. But did you think clearly before you made that move? Because the risk is enormous that will still come. And then on top of that, we have the business thing where people are buying bed and breakfast and all that. There is no foreign market in South Africa as in yet. People are still trapped in Europe and the United States that can't fly to South Africa. I would say the big spenders that goes on there. We have people that are selling their restaurants, and obviously they will, because those people know what pain it is to actually to run a restaurant or a bed and breakfast. So they want to sell, they want to get rid of it. Now the thing is, you have a water problem, you have electricity problem, you have foreign people that are not coming to South Africa, especially not to Port Elizabeth, because if you look at North End in South Africa, it looks like a wreck that is going on. You have old buildings that are everywhere there. And that is actually amazing me. You still have the Oceanarium that looks like a dustbin. There's a lot of questions, and there's no debate of what is going to happen with all that rubbish buildings in North, and that is now in Port Elizabeth that I'm talking about, with the Oceanarium, nothing. In fact, there's not even toilets at the beaches in Port Elizabeth. I don't know if people steal the toilets. I honestly don't know. But how the hell can you go to a bloody toilet? How the hell can you go to a bloody beach without a toilet? I was writing emails about it. I don't even get a reply. So the problems is severe, and I fully understand why people move to the coast. But obviously, I also was in that position when I moved to Port Elizabeth. You fall in love when you're on the internet of the beautiful houses. But when you get here, then you're like, whoa. What the hell is going on here? When you arrive, that is where the picture changes. And people must think clearly. Well, a lot of people already made the choice. But if you are new and want to move, please do your research and don't let your emotions come into play. It's a very difficult task to do, but make sure before you make that decision, because there's still numerous amount of risks that goes with it. Because one, it's much better for you to rent. At least you can pack up and leave at any given time. You don't have to face the bank. It's much easier to deal with a landlord than with the bank. That's it from my side today. Well, we're still sitting with no stimulus in the United States, so the market will definitely still go down. But that is it from my side for the housing market in South Africa. Please do your research before you just jump with emotions into the housing market. That's it from my side. I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye.
The champ is here! The champ is here!